Over the past several months about the richest person in the world, a billionaire, talking about Social Security, calling it a Ponzi scheme, calling it the biggest fraud in history. And we've just got news that Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, has decided to retire. And I just wanted to go through that there are other billionaires out there that have different views of Social Security than our esteemed Elon Musk. So let's talk about that. And so I'll talk about that for not very long, about 5 or 10 minutes, because it looks like I've already got a bunch of questions. People got questions on spouse benefits, whether they're supposed to get them 50% benefits, questions on retirement and disability. So let's get into this, and that way we can get into your questions as soon as possible. Okay, so I put together some of the quotes that Warren Buffett has talked about in 2005. So the idea that Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. He addressed this in 2005. It says it wasn't insurance at all. It was originally intended, as insurance, but it soon morphed into something different. He said it's a transfer payment by the people who are in their productive years to the people who are past their productive years. So basically, how Social Security works is that the money that comes in every month, every year, goes out to people that are currently retired. So he is 100% correct. And the thing about a Ponzi scheme is, number one, a Ponzi scheme is illegal. That's a fraud. So if you say Social Security is a fraud, a Ponzi scheme, then you're saying it's illegal. Um, and the idea of a Ponzi scheme is that you eventually run out of new people to invest, and therefore the whole thing crumbles in the future. That's not Social Security. Social Security will be around here for hundreds of years, as long as there's no zombie apocalypse, because basically every time when people are still working, if AI doesn't replace, and if AI and robots don't replace everybody, and we actually have people in the future that actually work, then they are going to pay FICA taxes and pay for those people in retirement. The problem is even though Social Security will be around here for centuries, how much will be paid? And we've known about this problem for decades, that in a few years, your checks are going to get cut because there's less money coming into FICA tax. And Warren Buffett addresses that and how that can be fixed. All right. So he says, I think that the obligation for the people who do well in this society is to provide a reasonable level of sustenance for those beyond their productive years. So he's basically saying that, he has said this many, many times, that people like him that are, super fortunate. And he says one of the main reasons he, made all this money is because he won the lottery. What lottery did he win? He won the lottery of being, born in this particular era in the United States, where his kind of his capabilities could be actually brought to the forefront. And he says Social Security is one of the most successful things the government has ever done. So we've got, I guess, a tale of two billionaires, to harken back to Charles Dickens. You've got a billionaire, Elon Musk, that says Social Security is the worst thing in the world. It's a giant Ponzi scheme. It's a giant fraud. And then you've got Warren Buffett, has been around a few more days, saying that no, Social Security is actually the best thing that's ever been done by the government. But it needs to be addressed to make sure, even though Social Security will be around here for centuries, if we don't privatize it, that is, it'll be around here for centuries. But the problem is the cuts in the future, less money coming in. And he has the same prescription for that as most of my viewers, is the cap on income. So he said in 2005, the cap at income at that time was about $90,000. This year, it's $176,100. So you and I pay FICA Social Security tax on every dollar we make. Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, after $176,100, they're exempt from Social Security taxes. And he says that's not right. They pay tax on Medicare. There is no cap on Medicare FICA. There is a cap on FICA Social Security. And he says, yeah, that's not right, which most of my viewers agree with. One of the things that most of my viewers won't agree with is that Again, this was back in 2005, so I'm not sure if he's changed his idea recently, but he says the retirement age should be increased. It was increased from 65 to 67. There is some talk out there about increasing it again, which is, fine for, people like Warren Buffett and, people like me that, just sit here in front of a computer. But, truck drivers, waitresses, people that do manual labor, yeah, they just can't handle another, 1 or 2 or 3 years. And anytime you raise the retirement age, you're essentially giving a 6.5% cut. So right now, people that retire this year, they essentially get a 13% cut in their benefits because they had to wait 2 more years. So every time you raise the retirement age, people have to wait another year, and they get a cut, a 6.5% cut every time they have to wait that extra year. So he has suggested that the wealthiest Americans could receive lower Social Security benefits as they are less reliant on them, allowing more resources for those in greater need. So kinds of a means tested. So his argument is Social Security, the greatest system that the government has ever come up with. It is not a Ponzi scheme. It's extremely important. There should not be a cap on Social Security benefits, and those who don't necessarily need it shouldn't be receiving it. And with those prescriptions, well, he also mentioned about raising the retirement age, but with those prescriptions, Social Security will not only be around here for hundreds of years, more importantly, just as important, we won't get those cuts in the future. So I just wanted to throw that out there, considering that he is retiring and that there are other billionaires out there that have been around a lot longer that have different views on Social Security. Okay, let's go ahead and answer some of your questions. I've got some early questions here about Joanna. She asked, I received the Social Security of my ex-spouse, but he continued working about 3 more years. I can't see his work record, so could his added work increase my benefit automatically, or must I do something? You don't have to do anything. If you are already receiving benefits on his record, on his MBR, Master Beneficiary Record, you're a B, B1, B2, which are the codes. Those are two things that Elon Musk and Doge have no clue about. The fact that there's things that's called the MBR and the Nubidin, and the fact that there's codes. So yeah, it's scary that people like that have no idea about Social Security are, directing the future of Social Security. But anyway, but you are on his record. If you are receiving $1 from his benefit, that means you are on his record. And if his PI increases because he continues to work, and that's one of his high 35 years of earnings, then 100% his benefit will increase, then 100% your benefit will increase. It's completely automatic. So what happens with everybody, if you're currently receiving Social Security benefits and you work, then the following year, once Social Security is notified of that work, how much you made the previous year, they look at it and they say, is this one of those high 35 years of earnings? If it's one of the high 35, they throw out the low one, kick in the new one, recalculate, and your benefits increase. And anybody else on that record, spouse, 2 spouses, 3 spouses, 5 children, whatever the case may be, those benefits increase as well, 100% automatic. So Pineapple Power Suit. All right, I like that name. I filed for Social Security at 62. I was told I qualified for ex-spouse, but had to wait until he filed to collect. 100% wrong. So he filed. When I filed, I was told my Social Security full retirement age exceeded 50% ex-spouse benefits. So no benefits. Yes, that is correct. So luckily or unluckily, fortunately, unfortunately, they told you incorrectly at 62. So basically, this is called independently entitled divorce spouse benefits. And a lot of people miss those benefits. If you file for benefits on your record and you're eligible for spouse benefits on anybody else's record, they just have to be 62 years old. They do not have to be collecting benefits. They just have to be at least 62 years old. And then you can file. It's called independently entitled. That's where the independent thing comes in. But luckily for you, well, I guess unluckily, it didn't matter. You didn't lose any money because you were eligible for benefits on his record anyway, because your benefit amount on your own record is 50% more than his. But, again, as I just mentioned, benefit amount changes every year. So if he continues to work, pays into Social Security, you may be eligible next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And remember, here's another thing that people miss money on is that they're told, as you are, okay, you can't get any spouse benefits. And that's all you hear is, okay, I can't get any spouse benefits, which is correct now, but in the future, you might be able to get surviving spouse benefits, because spouse benefits, you have to be that's got that 50% threshold. Surviving spouse benefits, it's 100%. So if something happens to him, hopefully it doesn't, but you might be eligible for surviving spouse benefits. So Princess Little Bead, my husband died in 2023. We were only married 2 months. Can I get survivor benefits? No. Well, usually there is an exception. Usually you have to be married to someone for at least 9 months, currently married when they passed away. But the two exceptions are if it was an accident, or he or she was in the military, active duty in the military. So it was some type of accident or something like that. There is an exception for that. So, Pink Owl, what's up, Pink Owl? I'm a representative payee rep. I received a message from SSI for possible overpayment during COVID regarding campus et al. A lawsuit et al. Class action settlement. How do I know if it applies to my client? If you receive that letter, then usually they only send out those letters to people that are part of that class action lawsuit. So I would reach out to that person, and what they do is in each office, they assign someone to handle those kind of special workloads, whatever, lawsuit or whatever is happening there. So make sure you reach out to your local Social Security office. It should have a phone number on there, and on the phone number, it's probably to your local office, to a technical expert in your local office, and you just reach out to them, give them your information, and they'll see if you're actually part of that lawsuit and whether you have any money coming to you. So, yeah, we used to have, I used to assign the very best person in my office that knows everything about Social Security, everything. Hey, Valerie. So yeah, she did all of those cases. So usually offices, because those are really, really high profile cases. So offices, at least they assign the best people to those cases. So hopefully your office does the same. Focus Lady, what are the current potential problems with SSDI for a person that has discovered ID theft in their online Social Security account? And how can a person avoid being considered to be a criminal? Yeah, the only if your online account, you're talking about mysocialsecurity.gov, if something go in there, they just go in there and change your password. You might have to go through some extra steps because they've made over the last couple of years that, my Social Security account a lot more, safe. But because of that, you have to jump through a lot more hoops to do stuff in it, which is, protects you. But it looks like somehow someone was able to get in there. But in terms of ID theft, if someone has stole your wallet or something like that, that has really nothing to do with Social Security necessarily. Most of that is, they're going out and, starting a credit card or something. The only thing that could affect Social Security like that is, if they went in, you also had your, information about your by Social Security, and they went in there and tried to change your direct deposit or something like that. So I would change your password in my Social Security. And other than that, is if they have your Social Security number, someone can, that's not allowed to work, can actually work under your Social Security number and then pay FICA into yours. So you're like, oh, that'll increase my benefit amount. Yes, until they catch it. And then you might have a nasty overpayment. So that's another reason to check your, your earnings record on a regular basis. So hello, Pete here. What's up, Pete? SSDI got my acceptance letter first part of April. Well, congratulations. I guess it's always bittersweet. A lot of people are like, well, yeah, congratulations, but I'd rather not have it. But anyway, first payment scheduled for May 15th. Still not received my back pay check. How long is it too long that get that check. It really depends. Yeah, everything takes 10 times longer because, the billionaire in charge decided to cut back, staff. And so, yeah, they did everything bass backwards, we used to say in the Marine Corps. Um, if you're going to make an agency or company more efficient, then you make it more efficient. And therefore, once you make it more efficient, then you can let go of employees. Okay. They let go of the employees and they're like, oh, we'll make it more efficient in the future. It's like, yeah, that's terrible business. So anyway, and y'all are suffering before, and Pete is suffering because of it, because there's no one there to process this claim. But it really depends. If you were receiving SSI, then they need to do that offset. But if you receive that letter, but it really depends where you receive the letter from. If you received a letter from the administrative law judge or something like that, if you went to that level of appeals, then it just says you were medically approved, and then the ALJ sends it back to your local Social Security office for the processing of the actual money. So I would reach out to your politician, your local politician, and say, hey, number one, it took way, way, way too long. And now they have approved me. Great. But it's taken way too long, to get my money. And I need that money. And it's the politician's fault that there's no one there at the Social Security office to get you your money in time. So it's Jackie, is household limit the same as family max, and how is it figured? Family max is different depending on you're talking about retirement benefits or survivor benefits or disability benefits. It's usually anywhere from 150 to 180% of the person's full benefit amount, their benefit at primary insurance amount, their benefit at their full retirement age. Yeah, household limits. I've never really heard it. Yeah, never heard of a household limit. But I guess the internet maybe has come up with that term, but no, it's actually called family max, and internally we call it the F max. But yeah, it's anywhere from 150 to 180% for retirement survivor benefits. And in terms of disability, there's these bin points that they use. And guess what? My new website, I've got calculators in there that calculates your family max. And the website is a few days away. So Carrie, get you receive survivor benefits and okay, not sure what that means. Got a call that they approve me, right? Thank you, Dr. Ed, for your help and knowledge. You're welcome. Got it on my own. No attorney at my initial attempt. See? Good. So you filed for disability. You did it yourself. So you don't owe the attorney $9,000 or so, 25% of back pay up to $9,200, I think it is this year. They change it every year. And this is to all those people out there that repeat that internet myth, that you're doing a disservice by repeating that internet myth that everybody is denied disability the first time. Stop it. Stop with the BS, because you're really hurting people that need to file for disability, and they're already having financial issues and medical issues and, going through treatment and stuff like that. And then people like that go in there and say, well, you're always denied the first time. And they're like, well, I just can't handle that. So they don't file. So let's stop repeating that, because it just does a disservice to people that actually need benefits. And Williams is 100% proof that people get approved the first time. So Untouchable, I'm getting SSD. I want to move out of the county permanently. Can I do this and still keep my SSD? Yes. If you're receiving Social Security disability insurance, you can live anywhere in the world, except for North Korea or Cuba. So you're good. Just make sure you notify Social Security. If you have so you just change your address, Social Security. That way, you get your mail. If you have a Medicare plan, your Part A and Part B is good. You don't need to mess with that. You don't need to contact Medicare. When you change your address with Social Security notifies Medicare. But if you have a Medicare plan, a Medicare Advantage plan, a Medicare Supplement plan, Part D or something like that, you definitely need to reach out and get a new one. And you can reach out to Chapter there, and they can find one in your new area and get you all set up. They're 100% free. So, and they sponsor this live Q&A. As a divorced spouse, I will get Social Security on my ex's record next year. Did not pay into Social Security, was wept and GPO'd, but no more. Next year, will I be entitled to any retroactive back pay? Doesn't sound like it because you're not going to file till next year. So yeah, you don't get retroactive if you never filed. So the month you file is the month you're going to get the benefit based on the Social Security Fairness Act. So let's see here. Shauna, is there back pay for the new state employees' spouse benefits that started in January? Okay, so Shauna's talking about what Lady Rochelle's talking about, the Social Security Fairness Act. If you've been receiving benefits going back to January 2024 and your benefits were wept or GPO'd based on, those laws, then yes, you get back pay. Yes, and they've processed about 14 or 15 billion dollars of the Social Security Fairness Act. About 2/3 are done. If you haven't received yours, then you definitely need to contact. So, Mary, harken back to Charles Dickens. Yes, it was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Yes, great introduction. Make the billionaires pay their fair share. Yeah, and like the rest of us, we pay FICA, Social Security FICA tax on every dollar we make 365 days of the year. You've got people that make millions of dollars. They pay FICA for the first few seconds of January 1st, and then they're done. Or if they pay it at all. Yeah, and Warren Buffett's like, no, yeah, he I don't know if people remember, I think it was 60 Minutes or something, and then they were interviewing him in his office several decades ago, and he was walking up to his receptionist or secretary, and he was saying, my secretary pays a higher percentage of income tax than I do, and he make billions of dollars, and I don't think she made, yeah, obviously, but yeah, because he didn't have to pay, the golden rule. Those were the gold rules. Alan, Social Security is 100% legal. Elon Musk called Social Security a Ponzi scheme. Musk absolutely full of it. Yes, it is. Been around since 1935. And again, Social Security will be around here forever. So I guess going back to Mark Twain, the news of my demise had been premature. The news of Social Security demise is premature. Social Security will be around here for hundreds of years, unless we decide to privatize it and give it over to Wall Street. But if we don't, then it'll be around here for hundreds of years. The problem is, how much will retirees pay? Will they get 100% of what they were told they were going to get? Or are they going to get 90% or 80% or 70% or 50%? That's the issue. That is the issue. So when people try to scare people and say, hey, it's not going to be here. No, it's always going to be here as long as there's people working and paying the FICA tax. The problem is how much. And if you can live on 70% of your Social Security check, then you probably don't worry about it. But there's millions of people out there that, yeah, they're barely getting by now. Julie, I don't think they need to raise it another year because some people may not live that long. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yeah, my father was a long distance truck driver, and you wouldn't want to keep some truck drivers on the road at 68, 69, 70 years old. So let me see. GPAT 52. We are simply getting our own media back. Never should have been stolen from us. Media stolen. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, is this the internet myth about Social Security is stolen? No, that is another internet myth that politicians use to distract us. Social Security, the trust fund. So when Warren Buffett was talking about the money going in, it's not a Ponzi scheme, but there is a trust fund. And the problem is right now, we've got this much coming into FICA every year and that much going out. And what covers the gap? The trust fund that baby boomers built up. But as with any trust fund or savings, you get that depleted. So in about 7 or 8 years, that money is going to be gone because it's going to be put in your paychecks. Savings don't last forever. And that's the issue. So it was not stolen. If you think the money was stolen, then you need to give 10% of your check to a local charity, because 10% of your check is from the trust fund. So if you think the trust fund is fake, you need to give up that 10% that's fake. You can buy me a beer too if you want with that 10%. So many are getting Social Security funds deposited today. I did as well, though funds were small, but still, all I can see online is that they're the Fairness Act checks. I'm 100% not eligible. Yes, unfortunately, I wish. I'm one of the very few that think the Social Security Fairness Act is 100% unfair because, the way the WEP and the GPO was calculated before for these 3% was not always perfect. But so what they did is they threw out an imperfect system and incorporated a worse system that 97% of people won't get an increase in their benefits like the 3%. So two wrongs, I guess, make a right in in the political realm. So, and I say, hey, if these 3% get extra benefits going forward, I think the other 97% should get it as well. So, how long are new Social Security claims taking to process? I applied 80 days ago and haven't received a determination. It really depends on what we're talking about here. If you're talking about regular old retirement benefits on your own record, yeah, 80 days is way, way, way too long. I've taken millions of retirement survivor claims, and if you've got all your proofs and everything is good, I've most of the people that we used to do in-office appointments. You come in 9 o'clock, talk to you, go through all the questions, take about 30-40 minutes, and everything was good. Said I'd walk you to the door, come back, I'd push the button, your case was adjudicated, you got your check. So that's how quick it takes. It's super, super easy if everything is easy. If you've got issues with, dates of birth and need this changed or something like that, it takes a little bit longer. But if everything is clean on your record, yeah, 80 days is way, way, way too long. You need to contact your politician and tell them, hey, forget about the rest of the country because all politics are local. So forget about the rest of the country. How much? What are you doing to improve the customer service at our senator, the Social Security office right down the street from your office in your state? What are you doing to improve customer service at that particular office? Because they're the only ones that can fix it, and because they're the ones that broke it. So I would reach out to them. And yeah, 80 days is way, way too long. Unless you're talking about a disability claim, then you're talking 6 to 9 months. So. Rabbit, Warren Buffett is a great American. I think he's. I'm a kind of fan of his. Yes, I agree. Good evening. When I am naturalized through my parents and they became citizens at different states in 1977, what date do I give to Social Security on my retirement application? There is. On your retirement application, there is no necessarily date naturalization. I guess, you would have to provide proof. There's Social Security is looking at your date of birth, so I guess you're good there. You just need to provide the proof. So if you have your certificate of naturalization, U.S. passport, or whatever the case may be, to show that you're a U.S. citizen, you just show them that. And then in terms of what date you use through the internet application, just pick, it should be, just pick your U.S. passport date or your certificate of naturalization. And if they want to change it, they will change it on their side. So it's no big deal because you're going to need to provide proof anyway. So even though everybody out there says Social Security gives money to illegal people, and which is no, because the Social Security employee has to put that into the system. If they don't put it into the system, they can't push the button and adjudicate the claim. So yeah. Dr. Ed, while I was a child, I was receiving my dad's death benefits. Will this mess up my SSI disability? Not at all. The only thing it will do is mess up your pay date, which is not really a mess up, because you were receiving benefits probably before 1997, and so you might have been receiving benefits on the 1st or the 3rd or something like that. And so going forward, you probably should be receiving benefits on the 2nd or 3rd Wednesday of the month. But because you're already receiving benefits at one time, they'll just change the paid date, the paid day. But no, it won't mess up anything. No, you're good. Deborah, I'm on disability, just turned 66. Am I no longer receiving it? Born in 1959. No, you're still receiving disability until you hit your full retirement age, and you were born in '59, so that's what 66 and 10 months. So early next year, you will be switched from disability benefits to regular old retirement benefits. So that means no more CDRs, those continuing disability reviews, no more work limitations. You are good. All right, let's see. We got Pumpkin Lover. If I draw my own SSI at 62, SSI is welfare. You're talking about Social Security, regular Social Security. SSI is supplemental security income. Okay. Pumpkin just means regular Social Security. If you draw your own Social Security at 62 and my husband then passes away, will I still get 100% of his as a widow? It depends if you wait. You won't get 100% because if it depends when he passes away. So if you start your own benefits at 62 and then he passes away when you are your full retirement age, then yes, you will receive 100%. So, but if that happens before, then you'll receive a reduced amount. Disney mom. My friend gets her Social Security for years now. She didn't apply for her deceased husband. Can she get it fixed? Yes, absolutely. If for some reason when she filed for benefits on her own record, they didn't talk to her about benefits from her spouse or divorced spouse or surviving spouse, deceased spouse, then yes, I would have her call. And Disney mom, thank you for looking out for your friends. Awesome. Well, that's what we like in this community. So yeah, tell her to call Social Security and see if there's more money there. And then if she's under 70 years old, ask when she calls Social Security and says, okay, if I start my surviving spouse benefits now, how much would they be? If I wait till next year, will they increase? If she's under her full retirement age, then they will increase up until her full retirement age. So maybe she wants to wait, for it to increase a little bit more. So she just needs to, they'll tell her exactly. Retiree collecting Social Security decided to live in the Philippines, got married to a younger wife, and got kids. Can they get spousal and child benefits? In the Philippines, it's a little bit difficult. Each country has what's called a totalization agreement with Social Security. So in the Philippines, I would call the embassy because each country is different. So I would call the Manila Federal Benefits Unit, but I'm pretty sure in the Philippines they have to have a green card, a Social Security number, and all the rest of it. Your kids, if you adopt the kids and all that kind of stuff. But each country is a little bit different. So I would reach out. And I know it takes forever to get in touch of the Manila, Federal Benefits Unit. That's because my buddy Jason has left, and I'm not sure who the new person is there in Manila. So I filed for Social Security. I received a letter stating I had a net profit on my earnings in 1993 and 1995. How does this affect me? Isn't there a statute of limitations? So I received a letter that said a net profit on my earnings. So yeah, does that mean you have an overpayment? Or did they correct your earnings record and it actually benefits you? So yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about there. If you have an overpayment, no, there is no limitation. There is a bill in front of Congress to kind of limit those overpayments to 10 years. But no, if you have an overpayment, yeah, they can get you. Yeah. All right, let's see here. Somebody answered somebody else's question about pineapple. Law changed in 2016. Keep checking back each year. Yeah, the law that you're talking about is deemed filing, that in the old days, one could file for benefits and suspend and kind of play around with spouse benefits, but that ended in 2016. If you file for benefits on your own record, you have to file for benefits on any other record you are eligible for. So let's see. Is there a difference between survivor benefits and widow's benefits? No, pretty much the same. Yeah. Survivor benefits, widower benefits. Yeah. And survivor benefits also include child benefits, surviving child benefits. So anyone that's receiving benefits on a deceased spouse or parent is called surviving benefits. My ex-husband spent close to 4 years in the Naval Reserves. The pay wasn't much, but will it count towards his future Social Security benefits? Yeah, it depends on how much he made the other 35 years. But usually Naval Reserves, once a month or something, 2 weeks a year. So probably, yeah. But yeah, they will calculate it in there. Yeah, absolutely. Denise, I'm 64 on SSDI. Hubby is 61, still working. When he turns, I okay, so because you say he is your hubby, that sounds like you're still married to him. So in that case, you can collect benefits on his record, but he has to be receiving benefits. So once he starts benefits on his own record, he files, if he does a phone appointment, then he calls Social Security, files an application, and then he hands the phone to you, and then you see if there's any benefits on his record. That's different than a divorced spouse. So for a divorced spouse, the person just has to be at least 62 and you have to be divorced for 2 years, final divorce for 2 years. So, all right, let's see. I'm trying to find some new people that I don't recognize here. We'll try to get some new people answer their questions. I just had my Social Security interview. Interviewer told me my 23,400 cap is for the whole year, not just for the period after I filed. That changed my whole plan. Is she correct? Doesn't sound like it on the face. So you're filing your early retirement. So there is the 23,400. So if you go over that for the year, it's no big deal. They just switch to the monthly earnings limit. The first year you file for benefits. So let's say, okay, it's you're going to start your benefits in June, and let's say you already made $30,000 from January to May. So you're over the 23,400. No problem. You just have to stay under $1,950 going forward. So as long as you're under $1,950, once you start your benefits, and remember, when you start your benefits, it's not when you get your first check, because the first check always comes a month after. So if you start your benefits in June, your first check comes in July. But in June, that's when that check is for. You need to stay under the $1,950 for the rest of the year, $1,950 every month for the rest of the year. So even if you made $1 billion from January to May, Social Security doesn't care. So I'm thinking she didn't express herself. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. And she didn't express herself correctly. So as long as you stay under that, and then next year, you're limited to, you can't do the monthly. You can only do that monthly one time. So next year, you're limited to, whatever the number is next year, 24, 25,000 or whatever. All right. Hello, Dr. Ed. I applied online for Social Security at 62. It has been, okay, I already answered that one. Let's see if I find someone I don't recognize. Richard, what's up, Richard? How to get my penalties waived because I could afford my rent would be, and my share cost is $3,200 for Medi-Cal. Okay. So penalties, what type of penalties are we talking about? This sounds like Medi-Cal is Medicaid in California. So you have a cost share so you have income or whatever. You're not getting the full Medi-Cal, Medicaid. You're getting a partial one. And I guess you have some penalties there. You need to contact, the state there and figure out what's going on. Because the only other penalties would be Part B. And if you're getting Medi-Cal, you don't have the Part B penalties probably. Unless, well, I guess you could, because you only have the cost sharing. So did you sign up for Part B late and you're getting the 10% penalty for every 12 months you didn't have Part B? How to get those penalties waived? Can't do it. Yeah. If you weren't late and something was messed up, then you can say, hey, I wasn't late. But if you were actually did delay signing up for Part B when you were supposed to, and then you can't get those waived, unfortunately. Troy became a silver member. Thank you very much. Thank you for the support. We appreciate it. Let's see here. Don't see applied for SSI and SSDI January 2024, denied December 2024, filed for reconsideration January 2025, represented by an attorney who submitted a dire need on my behalf. The waiting is agony and I am concerned. reach out to your politicians. The reason it's agony, the reason you have to wait is because politicians are failing to support Social Security, because part of the politicians want it to fail, want to destroy customer service. So you're completely fed up and just say, you know what, forget about it. Just give the whole thing to Wall Street. That's what they want. And the other side is too incompetent to fix it. So there's that. So yeah, reach out to your politicians, make it a congressional, and yeah, that's completely unsatisfactory. Pink, does receiving SSDI reduce all other future benefits like ex-spouse benefits or wait for fraud to claim? No, it doesn't, it's offset. It doesn't reduce it. If you're receiving disability benefits and you're entitled to spouse benefits or divorce spouse benefits, you don't get both checks. You get the higher amount. One offsets the other. So, but it doesn't, reduce it necessarily. No. Let's see here. Diane. I don't think I recognize Diane. What's up, Diane? I told a lady, 63, on disability that she could draw off her husband, 63, still working. She went to Social Security office and they told her no because she would lose her Medicare. I think they told her wrong. Yes, because she will continue to receive disability. So what she did is she went down and she talked to a customer service representative, someone at the front windows who is not a Title II CS. I was a Title II CS when I worked at Social Security before I became a manager. Title II of the Social Security Act. Those are the people that deal with Social Security, disability, and Medicare and all the rest of it. So she just talked to somebody at the front windows. And so I would tell her to go down there or schedule an appointment to file for whatever bit of spouse benefits, divorce spouse benefits, or whatever the case may be. But that she could draw off her husband still working. Okay, so this is a current husband. He has to be receiving benefits. If he has not started receiving benefits, then she can't file anyway. So as soon as the husband, if this is a current husband, he has to be receiving benefits. But if he is, then no, she will continue to receive disability and she'll receive the spouse benefits on top of that if her benefit amount is less than half. But no, she will continue to receive Medicare. They told her wrong in that case. Ron, what are the effects of winning a rather large settlement? You have to buy me a beer. Yeah. But unless you're receiving SSI, which is the welfare-based program, has zero effect on your Social Security benefits at all. No effect at all. So, Lisa, somehow all the people receiving Social Security benefits need to rise up and demand they raise the cap. Yes, I agree. We need to send letters to nonstop every week until they listen. I agree 100%. So call your politicians. Here's the number there. That's the number for the Capitol switchboard in DC. You can call your local senators and House of Representatives, call the White House, get onto their social media and say, hey, what are you doing to fix Social Security? What are you doing to make sure we don't get cuts in the future? What are you doing to make sure customer service, that people answer the phone, people are there to answer the phone within, 3 hours? And giving everything over to AI. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm sure AI can do stuff, but Dr. Weir is also a great American. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it. Alex, Dr. Ed, if we get a COLA average of 2.5% increase for the next 6 years, will that offset the cuts that's coming? No. I know inflation will affect that amount because the COLA, we can debate on how it's actually calculated, but the COLA is supposed to offset, make up for the inflation. So if you have 2.5% inflation and then you get 2.5% COLA, you're just kind of staying, kind of level. It's not gonna help the cuts going forward. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to cut it short today. I usually do about an hour, but I'm only going to do 45 minutes today. So I apologize. Got to get somewhere. Y'all have an awesome day. And I'll be back again tomorrow and answer a whole bunch of other questions. Y'all take care and have an awesome day.